Good afternoon, guys. It's Sunday, April 5th. Wanted to welcome you to an optional video tutorial. This is not required. It does cover material that we've already discussed. It covers material that we will continue to get into with meteorology, but I wanted to bring to you two special sites that are interactive, and I think it might just bring a little more of what we're doing to life. So I'm going to start with the site called Ventusky. It's color-coded very well. I think it's a good starting site, and then I'll bring you the more complex site next. So what you see here, we have a current map today, April 5th at 3 p.m. What I'm going to show you is the connection between wind speed, air pressure, and temperature. Okay, so follow the wind. These are your wind directions. Map these out a little bit. So that's our airflow. It's warm out today, mid-60s, upper 60s, because our wind is coming from the south. Where the air up here towards Lake Erie, it's coming from the northwest. Low pressure here and here. Wind always flows counterclockwise around a low pressure system or a storm. Whereas in the high pressure scenario, like this one, air flows out and clockwise. And low pressure systems and high pressure systems can be relatively close together. Temperature, if you check this out, there's a boundary right there between warm and cooler. So if I close this, and I put my cursor here, 70s, 60s, 40s. So this shows you that there's a frontal system draped right along there. Out in the ocean, you have a rather strong storm. You can see that there's a frontal boundary there. 60s, 40s. And then you go up here, 20s, 30s. I'm sorry, teens, 30s. So there's a frontal boundary right there. And you can play with all these tabs. You can pull up clouds. You can pull up wind speed. You can pull up air pressure. And you can even pull up humidity. So that's called Ventusky.com. Now, if I switch over here to Earth Null School, this shows you temperature and wind direction too, but it's a little more defined. If I pull this up, clearly you can see your spin there, and then another vorticity there. The lows don't necessarily have to be consolidated. They could be a little spread out. There's your raging wind speed there. Little high pressure system here, going out and clockwise. We're there. Big storm system over the Pacific Northwest, bringing snowfall to the Sierra Nevadas. And then you can see your temperature changes, your general boundary between mild and cold is right in there. Very warm down here, very cold down here. So that's how you read those two sites. You can pick up temperature, air pressure, wind speed. It's all connected. If we close this out, nice thing about this site as well, you can go out into the future, days and days ahead. Here, on this site, you could go out to, I believe this would be April 9th. And you can see how the weather might change as well. Ventusky does it a little different. You can actually go out farther. So I'm going to click on the 14th. And I'm going to put up temperature because that'll also include wind speed. So this is Tuesday, April 14th, the day we were supposed to come back from spring break if none of this happened. Pen up. And then based on this, you can see that there's a frontal boundary right there. warm, cold, or cool. I'll just put cold. That's going to be a cold front, blue triangles. Then your storm system's right there, low pressure. And it's a relatively strong storm system because if I take this down, you'll see that the forecasted temperature, 70s, 40s. They're really, really warm here, cooler back here, even in the 30s. So here's what's going on. And this happens in April a lot when you have a warmer winter because you get that equalizing process. It's my drawings here. I'm just going to sort of do the best I can as quick as I can. I tried this earlier, but I didn't have the microphone on, and it was much better because now I'm thinking about it too much. If I can finish strong. There's the Baja. Sea of Cortez. Cancun. The Keys. Cuba. Lesser Antilles. Jamaica. Grand Cayman. Bermuda. Long Island. Yeah, New England, I did not do well. My apologies. Hudson Bay. Greenland. Not really in the right spot. All right, good enough. I think I got most of it. So as we go into 7 to 14 days, the weather's going to fluctuate. You have some nice days, some cooler, windy days. Definitely not a long period of anything like 60s, 70s, or 80s, but the weather pattern's changing and putting us more in a pattern where this is your jet stream pattern, like that. This is called a ridge. This is called a trough. So most of the winter we were under a ridge, which is why it was warmer than it should be. Now we're going to be more in a trough situation. And what this is going to do, it's going to allow all this cold air from Canada to funnel into New England. And it's going to allow all this warm air to push up into the Carolinas. We're going to be on the boundary, so as these storms form on the base of the trough, if they get intense enough and they form in the right spot, then you get this wraparound counterclockwise flow, which when you mix moisture with cold, you get snow. But we're down here. So we're not in a favorable position for snow because it's April. It has to get very cold or the storm has to be extremely strong to produce its own cold air at the surface. So we're going to watch this. There is a chance that it snows again, that flakes fall from the sky, but sticking, it's really difficult to do in April because, well, the sun's higher in the sky, you have a higher sun angle, and you probably need it to snow at night to have any chance at it to stick. But we'll watch that. If something comes up, I'll make a video on that too. So the pattern is changing. Another thing I forgot to show you, and you can turn this off anytime you like. I'm going to get away from the surface, go up to a height of 500 millibars, which is about 18,000 feet. Less air pressure means you're higher up. So let's just pretend we're flying in a plane, which many of us, we thought we were going to be doing later this week for break, but we're not. All right. You know this as the jet stream. I'm going to go back because I forgot I switched it to the 9th. Not that it matters. I can still teach it. Doesn't in the day. Day doesn't matter to explain it. Let's see if we can get this up. All right. See how the wind speed just kind of zooms across this way? It's very common. At 18,000 feet, the wind speed usually goes in a west to east direction. So your high pressure here, zip. You can see a low pressure system here. So if you're in a plane and you're flying from Los Angeles to Philadelphia and you're a pilot, you absolutely love this flight. You love it because you're getting a tailwind. It's like running a marathon with the wind at your back. If anyone's ever done the Broad Street run, I guess in this case, if you were running it with a north wind, that would be great because it'd be at your back the whole time and the air would probably be relatively chilly. So you wouldn't be hot and you'd be running a lot faster than normal. But this is the same thing. This allows you to fly much faster. And it's relatively safe because you have a tailwind. Now, if you were flying from Charleston, South Carolina to Phoenix, you're going to be in a headwind the whole time, so the plane's going to use more fuel. And it might be a little bit of a slower flight because you're going against the wind. That's called the jet stream. And usually the fastest winds at 18,000 feet are further to the north because that's where you have your boundary between cold, dry and warm, moist. So you just have more intense pressure differences at all levels of the atmosphere to create a faster jet stream. Plus, as the Earth rotates, because it's a sphere, it's actually, you have less space in which to make one rotation. So your vorticities up here are much more intense than it would be down at the equator. All right. I hope I didn't bore you with all that, but that gives you a little background of how all this starts to connect as we go through the meteorology unit. So this is ventusky.com. This is earthnullschool.net. And we really hope you're doing well. And we'll be in touch soon. All right. Take care. Best to all. Bye-bye.